will still have been no terrorist attack since 9/11. The war in Iraq is won. Osama bin Laden is dead or in custody. The world food crisis is over. The economy is growing robustly. Kids are smarter and thinner. All of America's problems are either solved or being solved. Our fourth story in the countdown, Senator John McCain's vision of President Bush's third term. I'm sorry, of his first term. Oh, I forgot one, too. They find new plot lines for 24, and its ratings are higher than ever. In front of a crowd at the Greater Columbus Convention Center in Ohio, the Republican nominee laid out the intention of his speech today.
It's important that the candidates who seek to lead the country after the Bush administration define their objectives and what they plan to do and what they plan to achieve, not with vague language, but with clarity.
What's followed from Senator McCain, was a 20-minute wish list for the next 4 years, with absolutely no specifics on just how he might achieve any of it.
By January 2013, America has welcomed home most of the servicemen and women who have sacrificed terribly so that America might be secure in her freedom. The Iraq War has been won.
You know, this is a slower version of Conan O'Brien's bit about the year 2000. No indication of how the war is won, and considering he only intends to bring home most of the troops by 2013, that leaves full troop withdrawal to the next president.
The United States maintains a military presence there, but a much smaller one, and it does not play a direct combat role.
Maintaining a military presence in Iraq, meaning permanent bases, so we could still be there for 100 years after he spent so much time insisting that was not his plan? Just how does Mr. McCain intend to staff that permanent presence, given how overstretched the armed forces already are?
A substantial increase in veterans' educational benefits and improvements in their health care has aided recruitment and retention.
In other words, everybody serves 17 tours. A substantial increase in veterans' educational benefits. Exactly what Senator McCain is currently voting against by refusing to support the GI Bill.
Voluntary national service has grown in popularity, in part because of the educational benefits used as incentives, as well as frequent appeals from the bully pulpit of the White House. But mostly because the young Americans, no less than earlier generations, understand that true happiness is much greater than the pursuit of pleasure and can only be found by serving causes greater than self-interest.
So replenishing the armed services is going to rely on the selflessness of America's youth. You're planning on mass brainwashing? Again? Through video games? As to the economy,
the alternate minimum tax is being phased out, with relief provided first to middle-income families.
That would be the same alternate minimum tax proposal phase-out that Newsweek points out will cost as much as $1.6 trillion in 10 years. And those middle-class families, to McCain, that means people earning more than $200,000 a year.
After exercising my veto several times in my first year in office, Congress has not sent me an appropriations bill containing earmarks for the last 3 years.
Those would be the same earmarks that paid for the Jersey City Liberty Science Center in New Jersey, the ferry in Gee's Bend, Alabama, and the Naval Air Station Cecil Field in Jacksonville, Florida. All stops on Senator McCain's current campaign swing.
Public education in the United States is much improved thanks to the competition provided by charter and private schools.
Of course, there aren't enough charter or private schools to provide for all of America's children, but who's counting or can count?
Health care has become more accessible to more Americans than at any time in history. Reforms of the insurance market, putting the choice of health care into the hands of American families rather than exclusively with the government or employers.
Of course, the McCain health care plan takes away the tax break given to those who buy insurance from their employer, meaning the number of Americans who might be forced to find new insurance will be 158 million. And in pushing people towards individual insurance, he leaves the 56 million Americans who have chronic conditions, like his own, vulnerable to the whims of the insurance companies. As to McCain's own accessibility as president,
I will hold weekly press conferences. I'll ask Congress to grant me the privilege of coming before both houses to take questions and address criticism. much the same as the Prime Minister of Great Britain appears regularly before the House of Commons.
Have you ever watched Prime Minister's Question Time? They run it on C-SPAN. John McCain would last 11 minutes during it before he swore or punched somebody or stormed out, or all three.